Hi everyone, this is Liz with 143 Handmade, and I am here today to do step 2 of my soft hardcovers. I need to come up with a good name for these. My son, who helps me create the centers sometimes when we make the books. It's okay. My cats were just zooming and they knocked over a chair. I can see everybody. Everybody's fine. Okay. So, but anyways, he binds the signatures for me sometimes. And so we've been tossing around different names, but we cannot settle on one. So if you have a good name for a cover like this, a good name suggestion, I would love to hear it. Even if you think it's just a weird name suggestion, just a name suggestion, because you never know what that will spark in somebody else's mind. Anyways, so the next step here is I always make them a little oversized at first and then when I take off the paper, you know, and as you can see, not all the paper washed out. I honestly don't even worry about that. I don't even pick it out. I just let it be. And but I always make them a little oversized because you never know how much of the edge is going to fray, if anything's going to fall apart, you know, anything like that. But then what I'll do is I'll come back in after it's washed, and you can see, and let me show you before we talk about that, you can see how lovely this frayed. You know, all of this was not frayed out. I think this one was already washed and frayed a little bit, but it's much more frayed now. You know, and you can, after you wash it, you know, you're free to decide which side's the front, which side's the back, you know, all that stuff, regardless of what you had thought about when you were constructing it in the first place. You know? So, let's see how it fits this way. Let's see. Yeah, that's actually a straighter edge right down here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And then, but as you can see, it's a little bit too tall. If I bring it all the way down here to this corner, it's a little bit ragged up there. Well, I mean, that's, having a little excess is nice, but almost an inch is a little much. So sometimes I'll go ahead and just pull it up a little bit and see if I like that, but I don't in this case. So what I'm going to do is turn it like this, treat the cover as though excuse me, treat it as though this hard piece here is mounted, and I'll just hold it down and I'll just cut. And then I will take this, and it has to be washed again. I know, it's a little bit of back and forth, but it's worth it. Because I learned early on that if I just made them the right size to begin with, that created more problems than the secondary wash did. So now I'll move the cover out of the way. And honestly, at this point, a lot of times what I'll do when I have my rough cut here is I will just set it aside and then do my other ones, get the rough cut, that line where I want it. And then I will take them to my big cutting board and use my rotary cutter to go ahead and finish that cut, so that way it's nice and straight. But I'm going to go ahead and eyeball it today, I think. Let's see, what if I go ahead and just use the cover as my straight line, because I've got it on a excuse me, I've got it on a straight line on my board, but I can't see the other end of that straight line. To where if I just hold this in place, and then that gives me a straight enough line. You know, we're not looking for super precise here, but we do want it fairly straight. And sometimes this is still usable for in actual sewing projects, but this one I think is, it just wants to be a page, you know, a page edge. It just wants to be zipped onto the edge of a page, isn't it? Or made into page tabs. So that one will just stay on my desk. I have a little basket over here of little fabric bits. And so let me do it again. Make sure we didn't mess anything up. And you know, you can always add fabric back. If you end up cutting it too short, cutting it, you know, in a way that you don't like, you can always cut it again or sew some more on it. There's no hard and fast rules here. That's one of the great things about, you know, this type of art. And let's see. Let's go ahead and decide for sure which way is the front. Let's see, is this the front? Is this the front? I think originally when I was doing episode 1, I was thinking that this would be the front. But I think I actually like this one more. It has more going on. It's a little more interesting. Yeah, so this is the front. This will be the back. And so this will be where the board is actually mounted, like so. And so again, we'll turn it this way. And okay, even though I want there to be a slight reveal, I will go ahead and scooch it all the way down so that way that's flush, because when I stick the scissors in here to cut, I'm not getting right up against there, you know. I'm getting a little bit of a reveal, and that's great. And it's uneven, and that's great too. You know, this is not for somebody who really likes precision. This type of cover. I am not a precision sewist. I am not a precision artist in any way, no matter what you're talking about. So, but yeah, now we'll line that all back up again. That looks great. And then flip this over, and so now this needs to be washed again. And I know that seems silly, you know, but that is how I work, you know. It just seems to produce the best raggediness too, you know. It frays it out the most, because now this edge will get frayed, but these will fray up more. And at this stage, you could, if you sometimes what I'll do is I will add an embellishment or two. And let's see, let me grab a little bit of lace so I can show you what I mean. Here's a little piece of lace. And so, let's see, actually I'm going to cut that again. So I've got the 2 little flowers. And let's see, let's add just a bit of lace right there. So what I'll do is I'll literally just come in, fold it, snip it just a little bit, and stick that lace down through that hole that I just created. There we go. Just the end of it to hold it in place. And let's see, where do we want to stick this other piece of lace? There. I'm going to put it down. I like this angle. Maybe I want to draw the eye down towards the angle. Yeah, so we'll snip it right in through here. You do want to try and snip where there's only a single layer of denim, because the next step, if you do this, because this is totally optional, you know, and you can add all kinds of stuff in through here. You can add little bits of fabric. Here, I was trying to bring in a little bit more of that purple anyways. So let me stick a little piece of fabric behind this piece of lace. Make that one dual layered. Yeah, like that. Because okay, what you're gonna do if you're gonna do this step is, after you've got, you know, whatever slits that you want and additions that you're gonna put in there all set up, then you're gonna go back with your sewing machine and do a little bit of zigzagging stitch, or this is how I do it anyways. I do a little bit of zigzag down here on this side, and then I do another run of zigzag up over the base, so it kind of closes in that hole a little bit, you know. So you really, it's best to do it where you only have a single layer, since you are going to be stitching that again, unless you're going to do it by hand. If you're going to do it by hand and you have a strong sharp needle, you can go through as many layers as you want. but this just, you know, adds a little bit of interest. And a lot of times what I'll do if I've added lace tucked in like that is that I will add a little bit of lace, or not a little bit of lace, I will add lace either along the front edge of the book, sometimes along the back edge. I think with this one I'm going to go ahead and do it along the front edge. And you know, you can curl it around the bottom like that if you want. I don't care for that. So what I'll do is just along the back here, as I'm sewing it, I will actually sew it this way and just line that up with the end. And or sometimes I'll bring it in a little bit so that way, you know, the lace is only partway sticking out, not the full way. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do on this one. I'll do it about halfway, and then I'll just run a stitch down to hold that in place. So, you know, at this point, add whatever embellishments you're going to add. Do finish your sewing though. At this point, you've now got your finished size for sure, and so now is the time to do whatever embellishment and sewing you're going to do that you don't want to be visible on the back side. Because after I do this, or after I mount this like this, or before I mount this like this, but after I get all of this sewing done, I will come in with another piece of fabric and cover this so you won't see this whole back most of the time. Sometimes I'll leave it open if there's an interesting something going on, but a lot of times it looks kind of ugly, you know, especially when you add these. I mean, that just looks so weird. And so now is the time to finish whatever embellishments you're going to add, and then we'll wash it again, and then we'll come back for step 3, which will be adding that cover and then washing it yet again. So these covers are heavily washed when, you know, but that's part of what gives them that worn look, so they don't look so brand new. But thank you so much for joining me today, and don't forget to like and subscribe.